Hi everyone, I just want to invite you to come hang out with me on twitch.tv/thatneilj, where you can watch these openings happen live. Sometimes I'll open up my lobbies to do hunts with viewers, and you can even choose which weapon I'm going to go to each hunt with. Thanks. We're going to open them up. We're going to talk about any good or bad ones I get, and the various skills associated with them. I got 2 rebirths and 8 mysteries. What do we got? Good amount of red. You like to see red. But this first one is not great. Flinch free is a tier 1 decoration. So 2 levels of that and only 1 of the stamina surge. Like if those were swapped, if the stamina surge and the flinch free were swapped, this would be a pretty decent dual blade charm talisman, but unfortunately, this makes this one feel really weak. So moving on. Tremor resist and wide range. Tremor resist is way too situational in this game. There's very few monsters that really make tremor resist matter. And on top of that, tremor resist isn't really that big a deal in most cases anyway. So, kind of a bad one. Okay. This one's decent. Evade window and recovery up. Evade window 2 is just pretty good. Evade window is a good skill. 2 tier 1 slots means you can put your quality of life skills in this pretty easily. And recovery up is also a quality of life skill that just gives you more healing on your healing items and stuff. This is usable. I know evade window can get a higher roll than that. So, not amazing, but this is pretty good. Punishing draw and oh my god, this is actually a good combo. Punishing draw, we can look at it here. It adds stun damage to your attack, your draw attack. And so getting the Slugger comboed with it, making your stun power even better. That's actually a, like, choice combo. It really sucks that this is a rarity 4. This could have rolled so much higher, which is really unfortunate. You're going to dinner? Sure thing, Willow. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the hunts. Hope you had a good time. Moving on, Affinity Sliding. Y'all know I don't like Affinity Sliding in this game. It is so situational in this game. It's really not built into the kits of most weapons, and it's not really in very many of the design spaces. You don't end up getting that slide in very many of the design spaces of the combat arenas in this game compared to World, which makes it feel really hard to find places where you're actually going to be able to trigger it and get the benefit for more than just the, like, couple first seconds if you slid into an area and then it's not really there anymore, you know? So I think that's kind of a bad skill. Which it's taking up so much of the value of this this talisman. Also, critical draw, not as powerful as in old games. As you can see, it only goes up to 40%. I believe in World, critical draw level 3 was a 100%. It just gave you 100%. That's not the case in this one. So it feels a lot weaker, making this feel like a much weaker talisman than you'd like. Protective Polish, really good. I wish this had slots on it. No slots on this talisman makes it almost useless. But Protective Polish is a really good skill. It seemed needed. Totally. The nerf to critical draw is probably good. They might have gone a little bit too far. I think it would have been better as, like, bringing it down to... If it had been, like, 15, 30, 50, I think it would have been a little bit more usable. But Protective Polish is amazing. 90 seconds off of a sharpening. And given the fact that white sharpness is hard to get in this game, getting Protective Polish on a few of those weapons that you can just barely get into white is really powerful. But unfortunately, no slots on this means this talisman isn't gonna help your build as much as you need it to. Ice Attack, Botanist, this is kind of trash. I don't like the attacks in general on my talismans because they are tier 1 gems. At least for the elemental attacks, they're tier 1 gems. So getting them on a talisman is kind of weak. Yeah, really situational. You can make a build out of it, but it's so easy to slot into your tier 1 slots. They give you so many tier 1 slots on most armors that if you want the elemental attack, you can slot it in so easily. Fire Attack, Slugger 2. This is actually decent. The Slugger 2 means that with this tier 2 gem, you can make this a Slugger 3 talisman and just get your entire Slugger right there. The Fire Attack is maybe a little bit wasted, but getting Slugger 3 on a single slot opens up all the rest of your gear in a really good way. So this is usable. Recovery up, recoil down. The tier 3 slot. This is pretty good for a bowgun build. Tier 3 slot means you can put a pierce up, a normal rapid up, or a spread up gem into it. And recoil down 2, that's already going to give you most of what you would need out of that. So there's some really good bowguns that have like a heavy recoil, and being able to slot in the like pierce up that you want, and then having recoil down 2 right off the bat means you really open up your build to make it what you need, what you're looking for with that recoil down, reload up or something. This is pretty good for a bowgun. Thunder Attack, Ballistics. It's real unfortunate that this is a red. Ballistics is a very good skill. Used to be called Aim Booster, but having Thunder Attack and tier 1 slots on this means it's just kind of a waste. Punishing Draw, Peak Performance. This is okay. But no slots means you probably aren't going to use it unless you have nothing better. Counter-Strike, Thunder Resistance. Counter-Strike is a really situational skill. I don't like running it. The amount of raw it gives you at level 3, 25 attack is really high. But the fact that you need to get knocked over, if you're really good at this game and never really getting hit, that's never going to come up. So it feels kind of wasted. And Hunger Resistance is just a quality of life skill, so not really worth looking for in this way. Planning for Failure, pretty much. It's a lot like Fortitude in that way. Stamina Thief 3 with a critical I1. That's, if you're playing Hunting Horn, that's pretty decent. Because Hunting Horn does a lot of stamina damage. Or, exhaust damage, which is what Stamina Thief makes better. Recoil down 2, recovery up 2. Recovery up is quality of life. That other recoil down one we had is probably better than this. But still usable, considering it's got 2 quality of life tier 1 slots on it. Trash! Diversion is a weird one. I haven't really played with it. As you can see here, it says increase attention drawn when attacking. Theoretically, this is really helpful if you are playing a Lance in a multiplayer match, because Lord knows, it can be really hard to play Lancing in multiplayer, especially with bow and bowgun players, so that thing is running away from you. But I haven't really played around with Diversion to know if it feels like it makes a difference. And Tremor Resist, this is kind of a trash talisman, but Diversion's interesting. Can't block forever. Yeah, I don't know how effective it is, though. I've seen people talking about it being more helpful for Longsword. Because Longsword gets you are usually getting more attacks out with a Longsword. And it can help you get your parries a little more reliable because it's going to focus on you a little bit more for that. But again, I don't know how much it actually affects the monsters looking at you. This is really unfortunate. The slots are great, but Bombardier is a skill that I know some people like it. It means your Mega Barrel Bombs are crazy, but it's just, I don't ever feel like it's a skill I want to use. I never want to take it with me, so this is like the worst skill to me. Handicraft 1. Handicraft is not easy to slot in. It is a tier 3 decoration. So if you really need just one handicraft, this is usable, but you're looking for something better. Steadiness Bludgeoner, unfortunately, this is bad talisman because steadiness is bowgun and bludgeoner is only used for melee skills, so this is kind of bad. Bomberman Run seems cool, maybe. Load shells reload speed. I don't know. Okay. I don't think reload speed help. Yeah. It doesn't say it does, so I don't think it will. If reload speed affected file loading or gun lance shell loading, this would be good. It is really unfortunate that it doesn't. Even this, the load shells, it says coding reload speed. That's wrong. That is talking about files, I think. But maybe I'm wrong there too. I don't know. It's a good skill for Gunlance. Unfortunately, together, these don't really match up well enough to make it work. I don't like resistances. In general, you've seen I use a lot of defense boost in my sets as a quality of life thing because it's a tier 1. I fill up my spare tier 1s usually with defense boost because why not? But there's no reason to use a talisman like this. That's trash. Fuck. Oh no, my red ones. None of them have been great. Geologist is fine for farming. Leap of Faith is a skill I really don't like. It's got great slots on it, but you would never run this talisman. Recoil down, ice resist. Y'all know how I feel about resistances. Okay, this is decent. Rapid Morph is really good for Switch Axe and pretty good for Charge Blade. Evade Window is just a great skill. It's really unfortunate that it's only tier 1 slots. But this is totally usable. Those are two good skills. Evade Window is really good for Switch Axe, because Switch Axe has a lot of hop evasions instead of rolls. And those hops with Evade Window are so much better. This is decent. This is usable. Not great, but usable. Fortify, we've talked about. It's a skill that gets better, or rather, gets worse the better you get at the game, so I don't like it. Faster, more generous SA seems good. Totally. wide range, only there for support builds. The fact that it got 2 makes this maybe usable. 2 wide range with the slots on this thing. If you're looking for a support build, this can really help you get there. But Fortify, not a great skill. I don't like Fortify. Dang it! We talked about Affinity Sliding before. I've talked about Resistances before. Great slot on here. The tier 3 slot is great. Bad Talisman. Okay. Another Rapid Morph with Slugger this time. This actually combos better than you would think. Rapid Morph, again, great for SA and Charge Blade. But Slugger actually affects most Charge Blades because of impact files doing stun damage. And you can build for a Slugger version of Switch Axe using a exhaust file. And Slugger is fun to do for that. I actually might have a set where I would use this, because that tier 2 slot means you can turn this into a Rapid Morph 3 Slugger 1 or Rapid Morph 2 Slugger 2. So, can you socket talisman skills, or are they set in stone? What do you mean? The slots are just normal decoration slots. You get to add that into your talisman. Like, I can put any tier 2 slot in this, but as far as build, this is actually pretty good. I might use this. I'm going to keep this one up. As in, could you switch out Slugger for something else? No. Those are set in stone. Unfortunately, that is set in stone. You can recycle these into the randomizer, but decorations are craftable in this one. So, the talismans are really the only RNG thing you're rolling for. But this one might be usable in a set that I have built. Divine Blessing. I like Divine Blessing a lot. As a quality of life skill. Not big on blight resistance. Good slot. Never going to use this talisman. This is kind of a bad roll talisman. Okay. Interesting. Counter-Strike 2, Bludgeoner 2. Bludgeoner is a surprisingly good skill in Rise. We can look at it here. When you have 3 tiers of it, a 10% attack boost when sharpness gauge is green or lower. There's a lot of weapons that are basically just green. So Bludgeoner can be kind of amazing on them. You could run this talisman. I don't like the Counter-Strike that much, but the 3 tier 1s means you could build a pretty good Bludgeoner thing out of this, and the Counter-Strike is just kind of a bonus, I guess, but like, this is usable, but not amazing. Resuscitate is an amazing skill. I almost never get it on anything. This game has 2 skills in it, with Bubbly Dance and Hellfire Cloak, where you can put an abnormal status on yourself and have it be more of a boon than a detriment. And with Resuscitate, being able to status yourself and then get 20 attack is amazing. But I almost never get Resuscitate, and this rolled really low, so unfortunately not usable. But I don't know why that skill is so rare for me. Speed Eating with counters. Okay. This could work for a support build. It's got very good slots on it and 2 Speed Eating. you'd need to find the wide range somewhere else. But getting 2 speed eating off this is pretty good. Speed eating, I believe, is a tier 2 decoration. So it's kind of hard to get wide range and speed eating, because I think they're both tier 2s in this one. So getting 2 of them on your talisman like this with good slots is pretty decent. Another one, pretty decent. I think Counter Strike is better than Water Attack, just as a, like, incidental. But, again, pretty much same thing as the last one. Heartbreaking. Fortify and Water Attack. This is nothing. Ugh. Geologist, again, for farming. Counter-Strike, whatever. You're never going to use this talisman. Horn Maestro, recovery up. It's a good slot, but, Fire Attack, Rapid Morph, useless. Flinch-free Rapid Morph. If you don't have a better Rapid Morph talisman than this yet, this is usable. You can turn it into a Rapid Morph 2. And flinch-free, you want to have 1 tier of flinch-free in basically every build, especially if you're playing melee and multiplayer. So that opens up a tier 1 slot, and you can make this a Rapid Morph 2. So this is decent if you don't have something better, but I have something better, so trash for me. Earplugs is a really good quality of life, but most of the times that earplugs would be helpful, you can roll through it or counter it, depending on your weapon, in a lot of ways that it doesn't come up enough to be that useful. The times it really comes up is when you're playing like Insect Glaive and flying through the air. But they put a lot of earplugs, I think earplugs tier 3 or 4. I want to say tier 4, inherent into Insect Glaive again. If you have, like, orange and white buff, or triple buff or something, you kind of get the earplugs, so you kind of mitigate it already. Similarly, Switch Axe, if you're playing, zero-sum discharge build, they put that earplugs into the zero-sum discharge in a way that, like, roars aren't gonna knock you off anymore. So you don't, like, it doesn't feel as useful in this game to me. So this is kind of an unfortunate talisman. Speed Sharpening 2 is decent. Thunder Attack, whatever, but meh, not great. Item Prolonger, I am never gonna slot for that, so this is trash for me. There's so few items in this game that give you the benefit of Item Prolonger that it doesn't feel useful enough compared to a lot of the other bonuses you can slot for. God, why is this rarity 7? Oh my god. This is 3 tier 1 gems with a tier 3 slot for rarity 7. That is so unfortunate. High fire attack and hunger resistance, like, great, I guess if you're doing a fire attack build, but no. Horn Maestro, spare shot, these don't come together at all. Poison attack, weirdly enough, poison attack is the only status attack in this game that is still a tier 1 tier 1 decoration. All the other statuses are tier 2 decorations. So this is a weaker talisman than it looks because of that. So unfortunately, this is kind of a bad one. The evade window is like, okay, that's decent. And if the poison attack was tier 2, this would be like, oh, okay. That's 3 tier 2s on the talisman with 2 slots. Like, that's decent. But no, this is super weak. Steadiness, dragon resistance. Y'all know how I feel about dragon resistance. 2 reds. 2 tier 7, 2 rarity 7s left. Give me something good, please. No. No. Okay. We just talked about earplugs. Dragon attack, tier 1 decoration. You don't need it on your talisman. One more. Heartbreaking. This was a bad pull. This might have been the worst pull we've had.